Hey guys, I'm Volcano Style. While I was working on the script for episode 5, a fan of the series invited me to play a normal game with him, and I figured this is as good a chance as any that I'm going to get to test out my live commentary ability. I've never done live commentary before, so don't get your hopes up, but if this takes off, I'll probably end up doing some commentaries over games you send me, or just games of mine that I thought were interesting, because while this game wasn't particularly close or interesting or even that exciting, to be perfectly honest, it did teach me a couple of little tiny things about Twisted Treeline that I thought were interesting, and hopefully so will you. Now, let's just go through who we have playing who. On my team, we have the Mala Wraith on Jace, Zumdal on Gragas, and I'm playing Riven in the jungle. I have never played Riven on Twisted Treeline before, and I'd certainly never jungled her before, so this was learning for me. On the inner team, we have Brenzor on kog'maw, KEA Terminator 7 on Katarina, and we have Death Jumper on Singed. Now, you'll notice that we're going for a pretty standard jungle clear. I wanted to be kept safe by my team, warding the midpoint at 112 because of Singed. I'm very worried about an invade, but as you can see, they're just playing it safe. They're sitting by this turret, so obviously we had no way of knowing this, but that's I suppose the enemy team, they're kind of new to Twisted Treeline. They seem to come across that I think maybe Singed was familiar with it. I'll go into more detail about what I think about them in a moment, but as you can see, we're just starting with a normal clear. We get a tri-camp. Now, this I thought was really interesting. They give me a lot of AoE damage, and then they just leave. Now, I did not expect this to get me to level 2. Mostly because Tri-Camp isn't really one of those that I try to do on my own at level 1, and mostly because I don't think you can actually do Tri-Camp without a smite, and I tend to save my smite for the top jungle because I think it's more valuable to use it on Golem Camp, but so that's actually really good for me. One of my real apprehensions about this game was that Riven was going to be a slow jungler. So getting level 2 before even going into my top jungle is pretty good. As you can see, like, the top lane, the skirmish is ongoing. I've just finished my second camp. So I'm going to be level 2 for a little while longer than Singed is. Already you're seeing the value of that ward in mid. I'm not really sure what kog'maw expected to accomplish. Even if Singed had gone for the fling, I don't think he would have got the kill. This is just kind of strange. It's kind of a weird little skirmish. Singed has his fling now, he has his poison so he can put the pressure on, and Gragas gets caught out trying to skirmish kog'maw in. This is awful from me. This is just me not paying attention at all. If I had realised that kog'maw had flashed, then I would have come down and shut him down. I have my stun, I have my Q for mobility, and we probably could have got first blood off that. I imagine it would have been a trade, because knowing how bad a player I am, I imagine that I probably would have got myself killed in the process, but I think getting first blood, and especially on a kog'maw, would have been excellent, especially because he blew both summoners in the process. But, you know, it's as far as bad plays go, it's not disastrous. We're still doing pretty good. Like, our solo lanes are 5 CS and 6 CS respectively. Katarina's doing really well for herself, and a lot of that is to do with the fact that Jace left her to free farm while coming up. But it wasn't a bad play, and it certainly wasn't a wrong play. If anything, I'd say that kog'maw kind of baited us. Like, we blew 3 summoners, they blew 4, Jesus. Wow. But yeah, as you can see, originally I just thought Katarina was there. I didn't see the kog'maw, and as soon as I did, I just turned on him immediately. We kind of screwed this up. As you can see, I kind of expect him not to juke out of the brush, and we give up first blood. kog'maw has boots, so he's going to get away from me. I flash to get the stun, and then I just use my mobility to get out of here. Going to take a little bit of damage, but just because it's a Katarina instead of a ranged AD or an AD in general, I'm not too worried about the tower taking too much harass. Not great for us, obviously, but in the long term, it's better for me to get the farm and not fall behind. As you can see, I've picked up my Wriggle, so that's not a Wriggle, sorry, a Madrid, so that's going to help me as far as my jungle clears go. I expected Riven to start to snowball as soon as I could take the buff camps, and you'll see that I don't exactly do this. Riven is kind of, like, I think Riven is a wonderful jungle pick. I think the sheer amount of CC and mobility and just pure damage that she offers is excellent, and everything that she has is what you would want on a Twisted Treeline pick, but I'm beginning to think more and more that she's more of a, probably a top lane pick, I'd say. I just want to linger on this for a moment. Now, this is kind of a weakness of me as a player, because, well, I say weakness of me as a player as I pick up a kill on Katarina, but see how low kog'maw got? One more auto attack from that golem would have killed him, and I imagine that I probably could have picked up the kill. I'm very strange as a jungler. I don't actually like putting too much priority on the lower jungle camps. I think it's far too much risk. Mostly because I play junglers that very rarely win trades. So I'm always very wary of putting too much effort into a tri-camp or a wraith camp. But if I'd probably counter jungle there, I would have killed kog'maw, without question. I think kog'maw might be new to Twisted Treeline. It seems like he's dedicating too much to try and shut me down or give Katarina the farm to herself, but there's no immediate benefit to it, and as he's learning from that, there's just too much punch that the jungle camps have. He's at 6 CS. Katarina's at 19 CS, so they actually have less combined CS than our solo lane Jace is, and they're falling behind on experience as well. kog'maw's level 3. I could quite easily dive him and kill him at this point, and at this point we kind of already had it in our heads that kog'maw was going to be a non-factor, and as a result probably the force of our focus. Top lane Singed, he's top lane Singed. He's, like, top lane Singed means the same thing no matter what map you play him on. He's just going to be really tanky. And if you can get a gank off him, then that's good. I think that was what I was looking for here, but I figured, you know, he has his ultimate. He's got his ghost up, he's got exhaust. We're not going to get anything, and as soon as I got vision on him, I just gave up. Jace is doing a really good job here. One of the real strengths I would have to say about Malaraith and Zumdal as players, we picked a really good team as far as taking control of lanes that we're not even in Ghost, because you'll notice it a lot. Both Zum and Malaraith spend a lot of time in the mid jungle, trying to counter gank, trying to get around, and just firing their Qs over walls just to make sure they still have control of the lanes even when they're not in them, which keeps the pressure on the enemy team, keeps the pressure off of me. Good plays overall. kog'maw once again trying to counter jungle, once again nearly dying for it, not getting the farm from it that he would just get if he was just in the duo. I don't think Katarina getting to level 6 slightly before he does is as much of a benefit as having a fed kog'maw. So I'm just while I just aimlessly clear these buff camps, I'm going to talk about kog'maw as a champion. I can't give the guy too much flack for picking kog'maw, because obviously it was blind pick. He didn't know what our team was. He didn't know what we were going to do. I imagine that he probably selected kog'maw under the assumption that we were going to be a standard tanky DPS Twisted Treeline team because of kog'maw's W, the magic shred, the extra percentile damage. It's a good idea, but kog'maw doesn't have an escape. He doesn't have any hard CC. And if they were going to commit to a kog'maw pick, they really needed to base the team around him. It's going to get to a point where Jace is hypermobile, I'm hypermobile, Gragas can poke from a distance. Singed can only stop one of us from getting to the kog'maw. Katarina doesn't have any hard CC, she can only hope to kill us before we get to kog'maw. It's just a problematic AD carry pick. The reason that Ezreal and Corki tend to be the most common AD carry picks is just because of their hyper mobility, their ability to win most top lane trades because they have such early level burst. Right, notice how they have wards right now. We have 2 wards in the mid jungle, one stopping them from swinging behind us and one on the midpoint. They have 3 points, and they are probably the most 3 crucial wards that you will ever need to have. You can see they're perfectly in a line, but there is no possible way for me to get on their side of the map without knowing about it. Now, I have to give these guys credit. This was wonderful play by them. I go through here and I wait. They deliberately fall back. kog'maw does a clear, and I just assume that the ward was in that brush. He did a really good job of making me think that the brush was warded rather than the midpoint. No skill there, pure luck. I think Jace kind of wanted to go in on that, but we didn't have Gragas there. Singed, we didn't have vision on. Now, you'll notice that considering this is only 2-1, we're not that far behind. No, sorry, we're not that far ahead as far as gold goes. We're only 1,000 gold. Split between 3, that works out about 300 ahead. even with the CS advantage that we're slowly getting. We do have the XP advantage, and we're certainly pressuring them now, because we know we have better burst. We knew Singe was in there, we kind of wanted to pressure him in the hopes that he'd kind of break away and only focus on one of us. We probably should have stalled for time a little longer, we kind of needed Gragas to get there a bit sooner. But, all in all, I believe this goes 2 for 2, yes. So, this is just good play from Gragas. I just want to focus on this just to give credit where credit is due. You know, waits for a perfect fling, just so it won't throw him behind him. Gets a flash, gets the body spin. And I don't know why Singe stopped there. Singe, as a character on Twisted Tree Line, is someone that I'm terrified of, because he gets so tanky so quickly. He has fling, so he can just walk in and just flick someone out of turret range. And even if he takes the turret aggro, his team is usually capable of just cleaning up with or without him. So, you'll notice it again at a certain point later in the game, but there was a part where I was just kind of hoping to bait him into tower diving me and hoping to get a lucky stun. I expected it to go more against me than in his favour, but he didn't even go for it, and I thought that was really surprising, because in hindsight, watching it back, if he had tower dived me, he probably would have killed me. Katarina's actually playing very ballsy, going for my camps on my side. It's a good play. She knows that she can probably get out safely. She does a really good job of juking the Jace here, which I didn't realise happened, because I was doing too much, too much effort just AFK farming in the top lane. But one thing that we've been really able to do as a team so far is control the pace of all the lanes. I get kind of caught out by Singed here, which is kind of I wouldn't call that a pro juke by any stretch of the imagination, but I knew Gragas was around. I knew that between my E, my W, just everything Riven has, I knew there was no real chance of him catching me unless he blew everything for it. He didn't have Ghost, he had his ult, but I didn't think he would blow that just for a chance at killing a Riven. But he's starting to play cleverly now. He's putting the pressure on Gragas. He's forcing me to react, which forces me to also leave Jace alone. This would be an okay tactic if Katarina and kog'maw weren't just kind of struggling as they were. Now, we did this deliberately. We made it look like we were an obvious target, hoping to bait him into committing longer, because we knew that Jace was coming up, but he didn't. Now, we know that they have Ebonmore warded, they know we have Ebonmore warded, so I don't want to take this. I was noticing that Riven's low attack speed means she wasn't getting as much benefit out of her wriggles as I was really hoping she would. What I really should have done is I should have told Jace to go for wriggles instead, but even then that probably wouldn't have been too great, because he would have been against a kog'maw and a Katarina, and the HP would have been more effective overall. That's one of the interesting things. I think that if you have a team that's based around supporting each other, then you don't need the wriggles so badly, so much as you can just use your team to put the pressure and the damage on Ebonmore, rather than trying to force a solo with it like you can with Jax and Warwick, for example. And I should have realised that that was going to be the case. I didn't realise that Riven was as slow a clearer as she is. But here we go. This is great for us. They blew Singed ultimate. They blew Ghost, trying to get an engage that didn't go in their favour. And this means that everything is on our terms for going in here. They spend too much time on Jace. And, oh man, I didn't realise this went as badly for us as it did. Like, I get the kill, and this is the part I was talking about. Now, Singed has just used his ultimate. It's just gone up. He has enough mana left over to get at least a couple of poison ticks on me. And he's going to get a little bit more mana that should be enough for a fling. There is no reason for Singe to have not just run for me right here. If he'd got one fling and a little bit of poison, he would have killed me, and that would have given him free range to take the tower. He should have punished me there. You can see that the poison ticks are going to get me low enough for the fling to kill me, even if I wasn't going to take another poison tick immediately after it. But I did my job. I stalled him long enough to not take the tower. What we're looking for at this point, I believe, was we were hoping that Singed would call our bluff. We've got vision on Gragas, but he spent too long. That wasn't a safe time to recall, because even with Katarina there, he's low, he's no cooldowns. We can pick him off. A little bit of a a bit of a slow on the uptake with that flash, but this goes badly for us. Katarina gets a full ultimate, kog'maw gets some great ultimates, he's unfocused. So we lose Jace for nothing, Gragas is forced to leave, but again, kog'maw's not a factor in this game. So we just pick up a kill off him. I'm unsure whether I should have flashed for this. I would have killed Katarina if I'd flashed and ulted. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's up for you guys, how much you enjoy offensive flashes. I figured I'd try my luck. I knew I was going to get at least one of them from the angle I was shooting from, so I'll accept getting one kill and keeping my flash in favour of using my flash and possibly only getting the one kill. Again, I'm still not confident in my ability to take Ebonmore. Singed was up, Singed immediately comes for me, I knew he was there, I just wanted to take the wolf and get out. I don't really know what he was attempting to do here, he must have assumed that we had it warded. Maybe he was just checking to see if Ebonmore was up. I assume that he's going to still be around. As you can see, we don't have much vision because of how they're pushed. I didn't want to stick around for the sake of a ghast buff. Like, I'm Riven, I don't need the mobility. If anybody's going to take it, then it should probably be Gragas for escapes or Jace for engages. Because, as I've said, Singe can only shut down either me or Jace. And if Jace has ghast buff, there is nothing, even with a Singed thing, there's nothing he can do to keep us off kog'maw. Katarina tries to tower dive, and it goes as badly for you as just a really bad call, I think. I think they were kind of aware that they were falling behind in pretty much every regard, but I do this myself all the time. Sometimes I just think nothing's happening, we need to make plays, and plays can backfire more often than they work in your favour. Now that Katarina's down, now that Singed has recalled, now I feel safe to do Ebonmore. All I need is Gragas being there as a little bit of extra source of DPS, and this was good from kog'maw. Just keeping the pressure on us, making it so... I think he was trying to make us panic smite. This is good play from kog'maw. I understand exactly what he was trying to do, but I didn't feel the pressure that I normally would do. You can see that I'm constantly dancing around trying to make it so that he can't just right-click on us over the wall. If he'd done that, he probably would have killed me at least. But I wasn't going to be made to panic smite. You'll notice that we've always had timers on Ebonmore. We know exactly when it's going to spawn. We probably could have done a little bit of a better job as far as timing red went, but I think it was mostly because we had enough confidence in the crowd control that we had. We weren't really going to be getting the benefit out of the slow. Not on Singed, because he's Singed. We won't get it on Katarina because of Shunpo, and we weren't really that bothered about kog'maw anyways, because we could just kill him. Katarina probably should have reacted a little bit better to that thing exploding in her face, because that's just a free kill for us now. Not only is it a free kill, it's a free red. Singed is going to try to make it not a free red, but he's going to die for it in the process. A good smite from me, and I don't know if Singed was just kind of expecting to get out because he's Singed. I think he just kind of underestimated how fed the three of us were getting at this point. Now, I'm really glad that we got as fed as we do, because I didn't say anything this game, because I wanted to see how it went. I assumed that going jungle Riven in itself was enough of an experiment that I'd allot another one. Normally, I probably would have sent the Gragas into the bot lane in favour of having the Jace top. Against this team, it probably didn't matter too much, because I don't think we would have been able to get too many early kills on the Singed anyway. But normally I see Jace as being the carry, and it demonstrates in this game. Jace is pretty much our key source of damage. But I don't know, I just think that Gragas, because of his range, because of the safety that he has, because of his innate tankiness from his W, there's just everything there that suggests he's a good, safe bot lane, whereas Jace is really good at getting in someone's face and being aggressive. Which he can't really do against... He can't really do that against a 2v1, but It's just a really flexible team. We were lucky that we had a team this flexible. And that's what you should really aim to do when you pick teams. Think who the enemy team is probably going to be sending top lane, and if one of you can beat them but the other can't, then swap. But then you have to take in mind that are you going to lose more farm if you get harassed out in the bot lane? I'm just rewarding Evermore. I know the exact timer of it, but I'd rather just have a vision of them. This was really lucky for me. If I'd gone up there, I probably would have died. Instead, what happened was this. I caught a glimpse of that Wraith just chasing them, so I knew that there was at least 2 people there. This was also really lucky. Somehow Singed didn't get vision of me. I went in on kog'maw. I should have paid attention to where Jace was. I didn't realise that he was nowhere remotely close. But Singed has already ulted. kog'maw is low. He shouldn't commit to this team fight. Jace is at full health. He's just bought items. He's just got there. And what basically started as looking like we got caught out, that then turned into us actually getting caught out, it's going to turn into a 2-for-1 trade. It probably shouldn't have, but I don't think that was really anyone's fault, per se. Jace is just a good pick on Twisted Treeline. Just look at this, he's bullying a Singed. Like, I felt quite comfortable dying there. Usually I try to pick like a little minute window around the time Evermore isn't going to spawn, where I just tell myself, right, I don't want to go looking for kills right now. I don't want to die and leave my team without a smite if we end up fighting over Dragon. I think that's probably my weakness as a player, is that I'm overcautious. But even me dying there, it wasn't a huge deal. There was no real objective on the map for them to take. I don't think they could have got a good push onto top lane, even if they had it at full health anyway. So I just tell them. I tell Jace to go back and buy, I tell Gragas to go back and buy. Do I go back and buy myself? I might do. Yes, I do. So, we're nice and fresh, we've got all the items that we want, and we're just going to head straight to Evermore, hopefully get there by the time it pops, and then murder people. We've got a nice source of pressure on the bot lane, mostly because Jace, he has to be there because he has to pressure the other team. That's why kog'maw and Katarina were both there, because they're afraid of him pushing. Jace can push so well. That hopefully takes the pressure off of Evermore. This was lucky. I have no idea how he didn't get caught out here, but again, we just bait him. We do the same thing we've done every team fight. We force them into engaging on our terms. And we're just going to clean up. We get onto kog'maw effortlessly. Katarina tries to stay in just for the damage, but it doesn't even matter. Like, he's focusing his effort on me. I don't even matter at this point. I'm just the crowd control. I'm just the person that gets on kog'maw, presses W, and the job's done. So Jace is just going to get out with enough life to take the turret, take the inhib, and then we were just going to double back and take the dragon, and we would have been ahead. So I don't think that game was necessarily lost. I think if they dragged it out long enough for kog'maw to get fed, then it probably would have been a different story. I still think we would have had a huge advantage, but there was... Twisted Treeline is a game that's not lost easily. Regardless, hopefully you've enjoyed this, and if you have a replay of your own that you want me to look at or you think is interesting, then feel free to send it over to me. I'm Volcano Style, and thanks for watching.